My name is Jasper Coolin. I'm the partner manager here at Gorgias. As you can tell, I am from Australia, meaning I have a little bit of a funny accent. If you can't hear what I'm saying, put it in the chat, but I'll try and make this as smooth as possible. I think we've got quite an international audience today, so we've got an hour today. I'm going to try and keep it really interactive, really fun. The main topic of today's conversation is how to drive retention and conversion through customer experience with Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up very, very quick. It always seems to come up very quick. So that's what we will be talking to today. Please put questions in the chat at any point if there's anything you'd like me to expand on or anything that you'd like to know. As I mentioned, I'll try and keep this as interactive as possible for everyone that's here today. So let's dive into it. Again, my name's Jasper. I'm the partner manager here at Gorgias, based out of Australia. So I actually look after all of the Asia Pacific region. I'm in Sydney. So it's my 9:30 a.m. on my Tuesday morning for me. So if you're in North America, I'm actually living in the future. For those that are unaware about what Gorgias is, we are actually the #1 help desk for e-commerce. So we work with close to 7,000 brands now globally. And they're all brands that are built on BigCommerce, Shopify, or Magento, right? We have direct integrations with those platforms. And what's really cool about Gorgias is we help you streamline all of your communications, your customer service communications into one single dashboard. So traditionally, customer service is a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, whereas we also bring in your Facebook, your Instagram, your live chat, your phone calls, everything comes into one single dash, right? So that you have your one place for all of your customer service engagements. And on top of that, we use artificial intelligence to automate some frequent inquiries, some responses, which is very, but I think it's a buzzword these days, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning. But it's really important when you can use that automation effectively. So I'll show you what that looks like today and how we can ultimately use that to drive revenue, right? So as you can see, we work with some big brands here on the right-hand side. Steve Madden, I know is massive in North America, but these are brands all over the world. So I'd like to start this presentation today by sort of sketching the scene, right? And explaining why we do what we do as a customer service help desk. And ultimately, it comes down that today, buyers are frustrated. I'm sure everyone here has had a poor experience when they go to a website online, you log on, you place an order, you purchase a product. You have an issue with that, or you're waiting on your shipping and you send an inquiry and you don't get a response for 12 hours. It takes a long time to resolve these issues, right? On the screen, as you can see, 12 hours plus as a first response time is pretty normal. Resolution time of more than 17 hours, that's a long time to have an issue resolved. But these are pretty standard benchmarks that we see in the e-commerce industry, which is obviously an issue. As a result of that, buyers feel like there's no personalization. They feel like they're just being treated like anyone else, like a number. And you feel like no one's listening, right? This is an issue. A lot of brands spend a lot of money for customers to land on their website, for customers to look at their Instagram page or to even know about the brand. So when these buyers engage with you, you want to make sure you give them the best possible experience, right? And because of this, merchants are actually paying the price. We know that the slow response time is a high service cost. We know that the lack of personalization is lost sales opportunities. And so the benchmark that we see is that customer service is really something that's important. And because of this, here at Gorgias, we believe that customer service is not just a little add-on, not just something that's nice to have. It's really a foundational part of your tech stack or part of your arsenal in providing the best customer service to your consumers, but also as the whole of your brand, right? It's really a must-have. So that's what we do. And that's why what we do here at Gorgias. We're all about helping brands streamline their customer service. So going on to today's topic then, how can we turn customer service from an expense, right? Traditionally, just spending money on your customer service team to resolve an issue into a revenue generating opportunity. So we're trying to flip that around. There's a few steps involved. I think the first step, and this is arguably the most important, is to understand what your customers are asking, right? We know that often when customers come through to a customer service team or they make a phone call, they reach out to a brand, it's generally speaking, it's because they have an issue. Of course, you see people that say, I love your brand, I love your product, it's fantastic. They're great engagements, but more often than not, when someone reaches out, it's because they have an issue. They've got a faulty product, they're waiting on their order, they've got shipping delays. So when you know what your customers are asking you, that's really the first step, identifying what's happening, right? We know that 33% of all customer engagement in e-commerce are related to order status. So again, this comes back to where's my order? Where do you ship to? I'm still waiting on my delivery. 33%, that's massive, right? That's a third of all your engagements relate back to order status. So understanding these trends really allows you to prioritize which engagements are most important in customer service. Again, the positive product feedback is great. It's really nice having a positive engagement from a customer, happy customer, but they're already paying you, right? And they're already going to come back most likely. What you really want to focus on is those customers that may have left a negative inquiry or that are asking about their order status, because these people, we essentially still need to fulfill their need, right? And so having this understanding, again, order status, as you can see, is by far the most common inquiry that you see online, is really important to use this data to, for example, build new products, right? What do people want to see? Are people asking about new product lines that you may want to bring out? Maybe some product quality, feedback about product quality, right? Is a product that's really not built quite well? That's something that you can take back to your product team. Anticipate the negative feedback before you lose customers. Again, these people are arguably the most important to engage with in customer service. It's very easy to say every negative customer engagement, I'm going to ignore that, but they're really the golden nuggets, essentially, of people that you should be engaging with and really flipping them around. Which ties in with the last point, right? Understand where in your processes you can do better as a business. Customer service is great because it's that part of your business where you're directly engaging with your clients, with your customers, which allows you to identify those problems, right? It's really the funnel of where everything comes together. So understanding what your customers are looking for is really the key to your future growth. Step 2, omni-channel be everywhere. Again, omni-channel is probably another buzzword that we see everywhere these days. Here at Gorgias, what we mean by that is, as the name suggests, is be everywhere, right? That includes on different engagement channels. So think again of Facebook, Instagram, email, but it also means including other parts of your business into your customer service deck. So things like loyalty, things like product reviews, things like email marketing, having everything into one single dash is really the key to providing that holistic customer experience. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a holistic conversation with your customers, right? And we refer to that as a multi-channel, multi-touch conversation. Again, customers tend to reach out to brands when they have an issue, but rather we're trying to change the cycle and say, well, hang on, a customer has multiple touch points before they purchase a product, right? So they may send you an email on Tuesday, they may make a phone call on Wednesday, and they may like or comment on your Facebook or Instagram post on Thursday, right? The different touch points before the customer ultimately purchases a product or reaches out to you for support. And so it's all about having that continuous conversation with your customer. What we want to avoid is having customers that are being allocated a ticket number. On Tuesday, they reach out, and by the time they reach out again on Wednesday, their Tuesday inquiry hasn't been resolved yet. And it's obviously there's a disconnect there. So it's about building that continuous life cycle conversational approach with your customers across all your different channels. Not just when they need help, but even if someone's like, hey, I'd like an update on how many points I have, how many loyalty points I have, what product do you suggest, right? That's, I guess, to some degree asking for help, but it's not saying, hey, I have an issue, I need you to resolve this instantly. You're giving that the opportunity to build the relationship with the customer and have that conversation flow throughout the sales process. And again, even though that we're a help desk platform, we have tickets, we try and turn these tickets into conversations, right? So fun fact here at Gorgias, actually, for those that have worked with a help desk before, the concept of a ticket number is probably quite familiar to you. You send out an inquiry to a brand and you receive an email back saying your ticket number 1 million. We've scrapped that entirely here at Gorgias because rather we believe in a holistic customer timeline, customer conversation. And so this includes across all those different channels, right? So as you can see here on the diagram on the right-hand side, customers reach out to you on those different channels: email, Facebook, live chat. Our Twitter integration is actually launching, I believe, next month. So you have that overview with your customer engagement from the very beginning across all your different channels. And finally, we want to personify automation. Automation is another buzzword again. A lot of people are looking to automate. Everyone's always trying to think of how can we do things more efficiently, which is great. But automation is only great if you can keep it personalized, right? It comes back to the very earlier point. Sometimes people feel like they're just being treated like a number and then no one's listening. So automation is great as long as you can keep it personalized. It's really, that's the key, finding that balance between personalization and automation. And so the way we do that here at Gorgias is, again, we realize that customer personalization is all about having as much understanding on your customer as possible before you automate processes. So with us, that includes identifying maybe your VIP customers, right? Giving them that VIP treatment as soon as they reach out to you. Understanding their loyalty status. How many loyalty points does a customer have when they reach out to you? What's their order history? What kind of products do they tend to order? And how can you use that data to provide a personalized response? That's all available at Gorgias as soon as this customer comes through. And the reason we can provide this data is because we integrate directly with Shopify, BigCommerce, and Magento. So we can see, okay, this person has purchased $1,000 worth of product through Shopify before, and these are the kind of products that they tend to order. So you don't have to go into Shopify to find that data. So you're providing that really personalized response, right? Which is all about, again, providing a uniquely tailored experience. It's about blurring the line between what would someone receive, what kind of experience would someone receive in a brick and mortar store, in a physical retail store. They have someone come up, hey, can I help you today? What are you looking for? It's about providing that experience where you feel like you're being listened to, where you feel like you're being heard to. But to some degree, this is even better because we don't have to physically walk up to someone and say, hey, what are you looking for? What do you normally tend to purchase? We already have all that information. And that's, I guess, the beauty of going online and going digital is as soon as a customer reaches out, you already know who they are and what their spending habits are. So it takes that personalization to a next level. 80% of buyers are more likely to buy when they're given a personalized experience. And so this in itself, right, this is an 80% massive metric. This is a key indicator that, personalization is key when you do go online. So how do we do this? Now that we know that we need to provide a personalized response, how do we tie that in with automating? We know automation is going to save us time. Time is money. How can we provide a personalized response whilst automating some processes, right? And there's a few tips and tricks that we allow that to happen with here at Gorgias. One is the fact that we are built on that machine learning capability that I mentioned earlier. And what that means is Gorgias can actually detect the language of a customer. So the intent of a customer based on the language that they're using. So if someone is saying, hey, I really don't like this product, it was terribly built, the machine learning filters that through and says, hey, this is probably a negative comment. We can flag that and we can prioritize those tickets and say, we should probably look at our negative comments first before we look at, the people that are just tagging their friends in Facebook posts or sending you an Instagram DM saying this is a great product. We don't want to ignore those customers, but we want to prioritize those that are negative first and those that are probably revenue generating opportunities first, right? Use that machine learning to do that. We actually support 54 different languages here at Gorgias with our machine learning capabilities. So even for international brands, it's really nice to see, okay, well, machine learning is essentially doing the hard work, right? It's filtering what we need to do first. Once we've identified the kind of engagements that we're receiving as a brand, we want to automate replies. Now, automating replies, again, that's the tricky thing. A lot of brands think, well, hang on, I don't want to send out any automated responses that don't make sense to the type of inquiry that I've received. That's an example of bad automation, right? You're not providing that personalized response. And so what we do here at Gorgias, again, the machine learning can identify the inquiry that the customer has. So coming back to the earlier metric, that 33% of all customer service inquiries are about order status. Let's say you receive a question that says, I purchased a product last week. I'd like to know where it is and when am I due to expect that order, right? Machine learning recognizes what the customer is asking for. And we can actually create these templates here that you can see on the screen to send out those responses. And everything in blue and green that you see here are all liquid fields. So they're automatically updated based on the customer that we're speaking to. The data there in green, we pull that directly from Shopify. So what that means is when the machine learning sends out this response, which the response itself, by the way, is completely customizable, it incorporates data points from Shopify, from BigCommerce, or from Magento to send out that response and give really accurate, but also really personalized information to this customer specifically, right? So what that means is the customer receives a response. It feels like it's accurate, feels like it's personalized because it's got data that's unique to them. But at the same time, the brand, the customer service team has barely had to do anything. They can set up an automatic rule that says every time a customer asks for order status, send out the following response, right? That's when you really hit that sweet spot of automation and personalization. We see on average, brands can automate 30 to 40% of their total customer service inquiries with this feature. And so we're obviously not here to replace customer service teams entirely. There will always be the need to have someone else on the other side. Maybe you want to speak to a real person. But even 30 to 40% of automation, that's a massive number, right? That's if you're doing 1,000 tickets a week, that's saving yourself some serious time and money. What we can then use is we can use these responses to upsell with your customers, right? We can say, great, you've placed an order, as you can see here on the screen. But also, do you know that you have 230 loyalty points with us that you still haven't used? We can pull that data from something like Smile, for example, or maybe through Yopo. And so you're using these automation, you're increasing your response time, you're increasing your resolution time, you're providing an accurate response, but at the same time, you're able to upsell, you're able to sell more products to your customers, right? I'm seeing a question come through from the chat. What do you do to hype up your internal team to keep them calm, cool, collected, and patient? I'm guessing that's referring to internal customer service teams. We try and sort of say, like, look, customer service is very stressful as it is, right? Most of the time you're dealing with customer inquiries that can be negative, that can be urgent. And so I guess to stay cool, calm, collected, these little things like prioritizing certain comments through automation will give you that clarity to say, this is important, this is not important. On top of that, having all your communication channels, your email, your live chat, your Facebook, your Instagram in one single dash gives you that clarity, knowing you don't have to check different channels of communication separately, but instead everything you need to know, it's all right here in Gorgias, right at your fingertips. Finally, we want to make sure we get our offers out. So if you are running any promotions, customers are in touch with you, they're engaging with you. That's a great opportunity to say, hey, by the way, do you know that we have a sale on at the moment, 20% off? Use this discount code here at checkout. Again, you're upselling this, using this as an upselling opportunity to drive more revenue, right? Particularly on social media, very, very accurate, very, very effective at bringing in more revenue. And finally, this I guess is a more of a wider approach, is training your support team to upsell. Again, we really believe here at Gorgias that customer service is not just an expense, it's an opportunity to drive revenue. And so when you train your team to recognize potential opportunities for upselling, is when you really see the things the ball start to roll, right? Again, we have macros here on the right-hand side that we can help you create that are specifically designed to upsell based on the situation that your team comes across. So you're using that personalization, your automation, you've got a support team that's engaged, that's trying to upsell, you're going to drive a lot more revenue from your customer service, which is something that we track, of course, here at Gorgias. This is completely native to our platform, and we say, okay, well, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to drive more revenue. How much revenue exactly are we driving? The main things we look at here is, the conversion rate. Obviously, you're handling 1,000 tickets a week. 46% of those have converted into a sale. This is the total number of dollars at the end of the day. This is the effect this has had on your bottom line by implementing these techniques that we discussed today. On the right-hand side there, we've got those two key metrics, first response time and resolution time. Bringing those down, they go hand in hand with increasing your revenue. They're really your main KPIs that you should be focusing on from a customer service perspective. So ultimately, we save money and we unlock more money. That's really what it comes down to, turning your customer service center from an expense into a revenue generating opportunity. So I guess coming back to the saving money, to wrap this up, we want to automate repetitive inquiries, know what your customers are asking, automate those repetitive inquiries, deflect phone calls and rather use things like macros and live chat to streamline those engagements. On average, a phone call costs about $8 in customer service, whereas you could be speaking to 5 or 6 different people on live chat at the same time. So we want to deflect those phone calls. We want to bring all data and all channels into one single dash so that you have your one-stop shop for all your customer communication. And actually what we also do, we didn't touch on this today, but we give unlimited user profiles out to Gorgias, which means that everyone can have access to the platform at no additional cost. And the reason we do that is that, again, customer service has transitioned from much more than just emails and phone calls. It's now also social media, which is generally speaking handled by a marketing team. For your refunds and returns, you may want to include your billing team. So giving everyone full visibility into the Gorgias Dash for free just means we're a very scalable solution long term. So we're saving money, we're unlocking revenue by driving conversations, proactively engaging with customers through macros and sending out those responses very accurately, very quickly. And we're providing more personalized engagements, right? Through the use of, for example, Shopify, BigCommerce, or Magento, where we essentially already know what a customer wants the minute they come through. So that's really what Gorgias is all about in a nutshell. So that's it for me for the presentation on what customer service is all about. I'll dive into the Gorgias platform now to show you what it actually looks like. But while we're on this slide, if you are interested in checking out Gorgias, simply go to our website, gorgias.com, schedule a demo or download a free trial. If you mention that you had a look at the event today, you'll get your 2nd and 3rd month free. So we'd love to have a chat to you. So that being said, let's have a look at the actual Gorgias platform. What I'm looking at now, this is, oh, sorry, we've got a question in the chat. That's a great question, actually. Is the customer always right? The obvious answer is no, the customer is never right, right? I mean, customers have questions, customers have concerns. There are instances where customers are not right, and we all know that. But when it comes to customer service, I think the key takeaway here is to make the customer feel like they're empowered, make them feel like they're in control. So even when the customer isn't right, it's probably not a good idea to say you're wrong and you're an idiot, right? That's not going to help anyone. Rather, try and be as open to the understanding as possible, try and be as interactive as possible and say, hey, look, perhaps you think that XYZ, you need a refund because of this. Unfortunately, we can't give a refund to everyone, but in this instance, we're willing to make an exception and send you a free product, or we'll give you a 20% off discount code at your next purchase, right? So great question. The customer is not always right, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your customers feel supported. So to them, they should, I guess, in theory, always be right. Cool. So let's have a look at the Gorgias dashboard now. So what we're looking at, this is the home screen, and this is what the customer service team looks at when they open up the Gorgias platform, right? And this looks like an email inbox, essentially. The difference here is that all of these tickets are not just emails, but they could also be live chats, Facebook comments, Instagram DMs, phone calls. Everything comes into single pane of glass, right? As I mentioned earlier, you have everything that you want to see right in front of you. If we're going to bring everything into one dash, it's important obviously to keep this nice and organized. So we have these customizable views here on the left-hand side, which allow you to filter out these tickets as soon as they come through. And this comes back to that machine learning, where the machine learning can automatically recognize your urgent inquiries, your VIP customers, maybe return related and refunds, filtered out based on the language that the customer uses, as well as by channel. So your emails, your live chat, phone calls, everything comes into one dash, right? So let's have a look at a ticket, maybe a VIP customer here. Let's see if I can find a good example. Customer comes through, I've ordered a few days ago. Can you provide me an update on my order status? Again, 33% of inquiries are about order status. So this is not something out of the norm. I could reply to this customer directly, and regardless of the channel that I'm replying to here, it looks as though I'm replying to that customer directly. So if this was an Instagram DM, this message will go out as an Instagram DM. If this was an email, it goes out as an email, etc. The customer doesn't actually know that you're using Gorgias. Now, what happens is, as soon as this customer sends out an engagement, we built this customer profile here on the top right-hand side, and that's why we can actually avoid having ticket numbers. We know who the customer is instantaneously, so we don't have to ask Caroline being, what's your ticket number? What's your inquiry? Give us some more information. We know who she is, and we know all of this data as soon as she comes through. So again, I've got data on Shopify, right? So how much has this person spent with us? How many orders has she placed with us? What's the product? What's the shipping address? What are the recent orders that this person has placed with us? Right here at your fingertips, the idea being you don't have to ask this customer this information, and everything you need is right here. You don't have to go into Shopify or Magento or BigCommerce in a separate window. This is all right here at your fingertips. So that's really, really powerful. We also do this with other leading e-com applications in the game, right? So the likes of Klaviyo for your email marketing. Which list is this customer part of in Klaviyo, right? Which outbound campaigns has this customer received before she replied to us or before she engaged with us? If you're using something like Yotpo, right? How many loyalty points does this customer have? What reviews has this customer left, right? Again, sketching that customer profile as soon as this customer comes in allows you to really play into the engagement that you have with your customer. These are just some examples here: Shopify, Recharge, Klaviyo, Yotpo. But we integrate with all the big names in the e-com space. So I encourage you to have a look at our app store, Gorgias app store, which shows you all the direct plug and play integrations. There's no coding, no engineering required to bring this all together. But the reason we integrate with all these apps is because, again, we're the #1 help desk for e-commerce specifically. We only work with e-commerce brands. So it's really important for us to have that connectedness with other players in the game. And finally, what I'll show you is how to actually reply to this customer. So again, this customer wants an update on their order status. These are these macros that I referred to earlier. I can create anything that I like, any macro that I want. But to go with the example here, order status, if I were to select that this macro, personalized response to this specific customer, it's taken me 1 click to do so, customer's happy, right? If you want to take that next level, I can say, well, hang on, this customer is asking for an update on their order status as identified here by the machine learning. So let's have this macro being sent out automatically without you having to lift a finger, right? So I guess to sum that up, I don't want to spend too much time on the actual platform, but everything in one dash, all communication channels, all customer data points in one dash, providing that really personalized response, allowing you to automate those engagements accurately and personalized, will obviously save you time and money. And that's, again, as we discussed earlier, that's what we're all about. So that's a very high level overview of the Gorgias Dash. Again, if you're interested in having a look at a more in-depth demo, please do reach out to us and we'll go from there.